this thing, and I'll figure it out from going forward. But Phil, thanks for joining me on Crew Call Live, man. I know it's you were traveling and we weren't sure you were going to make it live, and I've been trying to figure this stuff out. So I'm glad you made it. I'm trying to figure this stuff, but I'm so interested in what you do and how you got into what you do because I can't imagine. I'm here with Phil Jacques, Steadicam operator for over 15 years on the A show. I know, and I don't know where you,
Yep.
but that's my first interest is where you got started because 15. I can't imagine you started out the gate saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a Steadicam op." I'm thinking you start as just a camera guy, and then it led to that.
Kind of. Yeah, I was a studio tech at ESPN, and I got to mess with all the gear. So that just gave me time to, mess with it and figure out what I wanted to do. And after it didn't take long, I figured out, hey, this stuff's neat. And especially once I learned this, once I saw the Steadicam, I was like, all right, I want to learn how to do that.
Did you have to? Did you go for any? Did you have a particular training program that you said to make sure that before you? How did you get your first hands on it?
Um,
Training to make sure that before you. How did you get
Gosh,
your first hand?
I think one of the studio guys had it. ESPN had it. They were using it for X Games and some other in studio stuff in Bristol. Uh, there was only a couple people using it at the time, and I just eventually forced my way in there and was like, "Hey, I took some initiative on my own, kind of worked on it, tried it, uh, practiced a bunch, and then just went straight for it, really."
So did you when did you feel like this was something that because like there's a commitment to doing this. There's a commitment to like
I
you
knew as
have to
soon as
know
I
like
saw
am
this
I
thing.
really it's the physicality of it. Can my body take it? Do I have what it takes to to really learn the framing and how to really tweak all that stuff? I mean, you knew like right out the gate there's a learning curve to this. Nobody's going to become. I mean, you're one of the best in the business, but you had to know starting out, man, to become the best. It's going to take me time, right? You had to like, do I have it in me? Do I really want to do it? Because there had to be either easier paths that might have been options for you.
This was the easiest thing for me to do, actually. I can't, it's hard to explain. I just knew it and it spoke to me, if you will. And it didn't take long for me to pick it up.
So
You get you get a
what
few
was it that
reps
spoke to you?
on
Was it just that you
shows
got a
and
feel for it,
stuff
and then
like that.
that it was like you had it, you knew like you understood the concepts of it, you felt comfortable in it. Are you still operating with a similar vest that you first
Yep,
started out with, or have you
pretty
changed up or
much.
gone with the technology? Because you've been doing it a while. So what was the first vest you kind of learned on, and what are you operating
Oh, we
now?
had we had a studio had an EFP, a Steadicam EFP. It was pretty much similar to what I run now. It's I run a pretty basic stripped down rig. I make it as light as possible, especially because when you get older, you don't really want to carry around, as much as you know. You just don't. There are times where it's like, you know what, this would be a lot easier if I didn't have this and this on here, and anything I could do to lighten my load. So it's just a basic rig, flies how I fly it. I don't use a device or a leveling gimbal or anything, and it shows, sometimes.
So let me ask you with the advancements of do you feel like um do you like what you operate with now better than what you started
Oh
out
yeah.
with? Did you tweak anything like that
It's
to make it?
almost the same. The arms upgraded. The technology of the arm has come up to where it is now. The pro arms are excellent, especially for what I do. Um, the vest is light and comfortable, more comfortable than the first one I ever wore. and the ones I've worn in between. And the rig itself is pretty basic. It's a camera on a stick. We get a battery and a monitor. So as long as I can see the feed of the camera, I'm good to go.
You always so that's what you're looking for most to is as long as your setup is pretty much the same. You're always comfortable at it. Are you a do you mount differently? Because I know some guys side mount, some guys back mount. Have you ever
No,
adjusted
I
the way
just
you
do the
mount your
side
arm?
front, just side front mount. Yeah, normal standard operating. That's part of it too. It's like I when I learned how to do this, I learned to do it kind of one way and learned to be like, okay, this is what I have to work with. So I spent time just trying to uh the rig is a delicate thing. So when you're when you're flying around in a football game or something, it's you're a little all over the place. But I do try to concentrate on keeping it like, flat, steady level, that kind of thing. They're not all home runs, but yeah. But when you're a studio environment, you got time to slow down and walk and like kind of pace yourself. It's a lot easier to keep the rig flying level and straight.
I'm trying to get this. There we go. So I'm trying to show like so that's you with your rig running on the football
Yep,
field. You're right, running on the field. That's you doing baseball,
yep.
back with football. I mean, you've been around doing a lot of games. Did you start off with Fox
That
first?
was one
Was
of
it
my
you?
favorite things. That's one of the favorite things I that I had done in the last like handful of years was Tom Brady during COVID. He walked over and tried to high five the ref after they scored. I think it was the first game back from COVID. There was nobody in the stadium. It's crazy. We're all wearing masks. He tried to high five the ref. The
Yeah,
ref
well,
said no and just walked away. It was
yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting. Like those are the kind of funny moments that you remember doing this thing, or little moments like that that you're a part of. When you first started getting experience doing it, what was the? Because did you start doing Steadicam on studio stuff and
Yeah.
shows like that, or were you working games right away?
Let's see. So I started um right out of college in 97. So I've been doing this almost 30 years now. Let's
Is
see,
that
started
crazy for you to
90.
even think to say that? Is
Yeah,
it crazy for
yeah.
you to think that you
Next
did it
year
for
is
30
30
years?
years. Yeah. I didn't know I'd still be doing this. I started right out of college. I had a friend from college work at ESPN, Mike Haller. He's a graphics guy. Friend from school. I kind of used him and knowing that he was there, that it was possible to get into ESPN. I'm originally from New Hampshire, so it's only a couple hours down the highway. And I get down there and get into their program, to as a temporary technician. And after about 6, 8 months, 8 months maybe, I was hired on. Uh, as a full-time tech with the studio. I was already doing sports centers and a bunch of the shows in the studio, doing some editing, a
As
little
a
bit of
as a
everything.
Steadicam op, right?
No, just a regular camera, hard cam op. Learning how to do studio shows at ESPN. Did that for about
But so
almost about 8 or 10 months of
did
that, trying to figure out like where I would fit in. And I saw the Steadicam, pretty quickly when I got there. And I was like, hey, I want to learn how to use that. Um, Before I did that, I learned how to do jib. So I was doing jib for studio shows and camera. And then the next step for me was to pick up the Steadicam. So I bugged the guys. I went in on my own time. I learned how to use it. And then after I felt comfortable enough to use it, we started doing live stuff on air. I do remember my first tally in the Steadicam. It was kind of wild. Um,
what was it? What was the show?
It
ESPN
was
show?
RPM Tonight with Reese Davis, ESPN2 show. We used to call it ESPN2 is called The Deuce. Back when I started in the late 90s, it had that grunge motif, everything was grungy. So it was kind of fun to be in there. And the Steadicam kind of complemented that show. And you got to be creative. And that was the fun thing about the Steadicam. Once you got in it and we're able to start doing things, I was able to work with a lot of people in the studio. They would help me video, and the other people in the studio would help me uh, light stuff, set stuff up. We build things like physical things like helmets and jerseys and different lighting cues and setups. And we just were able to be as creative as possible. So after about I I did so like by like 98 I was doing Steadicam, and then I really started doing it more and more, and then I was also doing Jib, and then I started traveling in like 99, I think. I think one of the first things I did was in New York City. It was Steadicam for ESPN doing I think it was like end of year sports center shows, like the Christmas show that airs all day, top 10 highlights of the year, something like that. I remember doing that. And then I actually traveled to Pro Football Hall of Fame in 99, I think, doing some stuff there. That was pretty neat. We did this show called Pro Football's Greatest Reunion. It was every living uh, football player was there, minus like one or two guys,
So that
and
was your
that was
first
neat for
opportunity.
me
That was
to
you in
like see
studio,
the
but then
NFL, see the people, see it all in person. And then I think ABC was there, and Jeff Zachary was there. I think I met him that weekend, and he was doing.
you're
Jeff was doing
talking about.
Steadicam for, yeah, yeah.
Hold on, I'm
Jeff
gonna
was
get
doing
to it. You sent me.
Steadicam for, yeah, there he is. Jeff's the man.
Yeah,
Jeff's the OG. That was actually this year. We ran into each other in the spring at no, what was it? Indianapolis 500. He was working on something. I was doing Steadicam, and I met him in like 99, I think, early on, and we talked a little bit, um, and then within another year or so, I started on College Game Day, and that became a whole thing for me. It was 7 years. The next 7 years were College Game Day and other shows, which eventually turned
so you
into
went. So you went from studio.
ESPN
You went from
getting Monday Night
studio.
Football. Yeah.
That that was so you went from studio to transitioning to almost all the full sports, and then you weren't going back to studio, or do you still kind of dip into that when you do a
No, I
pregame show,
was.
or
I,
or
I did do no, not really anymore. I've done just about every show of some sort out there, some version of it that ESPN at least has. I've worked for all the networks. Um, I've been in and out of different things over the years. It's a bit of a cycle, but it's working with
do
some
you
of the
like where
best
you're at
people in the
now? I
world.
mean, I feel like you're at the top of
Oh
your
yeah,
game. I mean, you see, you 30 years, man. I've been watching your work for so long. I forget how. I mean, the work that you do and how well you do it is
thanks.
you put your time in. You definitely put your time in. Now
Yeah,
I want to, since it's so much time and it's such a, I mean, I did handheld for 20 some 20. I'm still doing handheld, but I'm limiting it now to
yeah,
college games. I'm not doing as
right,
much
right.
handheld on the NBA stuff. You have to make limits because I want to always do my best, and not doing handheld night in night out is not an easy thing. I can imagine
Beat
doing
yourself up.
Steadicam
Yeah,
every gig. Yeah, every gig you do, you look on the call sheet, you're a Steadicam guy. You're the Steadicam guy. You're always
yeah.
committed. And sometimes the directors or the clients you work with don't understand or respect the amount of effort or work that it takes to have it, to hold the shot for a long, long time without relieving your shot. Like, you have to, like, there is a finessing of resources, like how to save your body and still get all the shots and not be completely dead at the end of the show, right? How did you
Yeah, as I
manage
got
that
older,
workflow?
it's work smarter, not harder kind of situation. I know in football games, I don't, you know, I don't know the detailed X's and O's of football, but when I look up at the field, I kind of get a sense of where the key players are, and in certain situations, I I kind of not know, but I have a good guess of where the ball or who's getting the ball. Sometimes I'll sit there and I'll watch a quarterback read through his whole progression. His head turns, he looks, and I have to kind of read his eyes as we're moving. Yeah, that's a good one. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. What happened here?
this this is just random. It's actually one of the only times I've ever actually been on the ground with
Oh,
the rig.
oh, oh, oh,
It's
yeah.
it's just it was just a play where they were coming at me, and it was like a slow speed car crash. Oh, this is cool. This is a Minneapolis miracle. Happened right in front of me, and just you have to realize situation. The game's over as soon as these guys score. So it was just full on, um, full, pedal to the metal. Get down there, hit the gas, and this is one of those things. I think Mario and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Was that when you do something like that, and you experience and see different things, that you kind of expect things to go a certain way when you end in a game-ending walk-off situation. And that was one of
Yeah.
those
Do you have
experiences
the
that I
freedom
was
of
kind of
this? Do
ready
you have
for.
the freedom? But do you have the freedom? I know you've been with Russo for a long time. I've
Yep.
worked with Russo. He's awesome. He's just great.
Roos and
He is a
Z are awesome,
cameraman's
man.
director.
They're great.
He's great. He's great in his meetings. He's just he's a great guy. I mean, everybody's so happy to see his success and how he does his thing, and he does it well. But I think he does it well because he definitely has a trust, and he built that trust with
Yeah.
all of his guys. You
Yep.
too. So he gives you the
Not
freedom
just me, but
to
yeah.
sell.
Roos and
How
Z
was that?
trust
How
us
was
to
that building that relationship with him?
produce. Roos and Z trust us to produce our own cameras. Basically, we have the gist of what they need. We need to be where they think we're going to be when they think we're going to be there. Other than that, is a lot of like they trust us, and that's the other thing too. Is working once you work with these guys, you understand what they want. You understand what the show needs. You're not doing things that someone else is doing something. I shouldn't be standing there. I should move on and go do something else. Standing there, two cameras shooting the same thing is a waste of time and resources. So you learn how to be productive during the 3 hours of a game. Like I said, they're great. I walked in with Ruse. They called me, I think, gosh, I think Don Cornelli. Shout out Don Cornelli and Mario were big in getting me on the show with Russo. They were looking for someone, and they knew that I was doing Monday Night Football, and they asked me to come over during the Thanksgiving playoffs, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl. I just got dropped into it. Honestly, I'm the luckiest person out here because I have no business doing what I'm doing, but I just happen to be in the right place at the right time with these guys. And they've been amazing over the years. And where I'm at now is probably one of the most satisfying things I do. We have, like I said,
Is it because you find like you
we
started
have a
out
long
like so that
leash.
you with that? Yeah, but you were with NBC. So who was that director you were with? That was it Drew back then? Who was
No, I
directing
was doing
Monday Night Football?
Monday Night Football with ESPN, and it was Chip and Jay were directing that.
Oh, okay. And so you were working with them for a while, and then so this was an opportunity just to leave that show, and but to work with.
I
So you
stayed on
started
actually with
filling in
Monday night.
first.
I started with Monday night. I was still doing regular season stuff, and then I forget what year I ended up picking up Thursday night football, and then I was basically full time with Fox from there. I want to say like 2018 or something. But
So
I've
that's when
done
you had.
Thursday
Is
night
that when you had to make the
football
commitment?
Monday. I did Thursday night football a couple times. I did it way back when Craig Janoff was doing it. Um, so I was doing two football games a week at some points, early on. And that's really how I got the experience and learned was doing so many games in a week. You do multiple games a week on Steadicam, you really start to pick up like, what you should or shouldn't be doing. And it still
But
changes.
well, I'm sure. But so when you're, but is there a routine when you know you have so many games and you're committed to that? A health routine? I mean, you have to maintain your body, and I have to. I mean, it's kind of weird for me to ask that because I don't usually ask men how they maintain their bodies. But I just it's fascinating to me because health matters more as you get older, obviously, and
Yeah.
when especially when it's your job and career, like especially because we all believe in this business when you're in it long enough that your experience is what you help monetize your future because obviously the more experience you have the more value you have what you bring to the table, and as a Steadicam guy you want to so that means after being in it for 30 years, you're not at a scale rate. You're at a good rate, and so you want to work as much as you can and or get as much value as you can because it's limited time that you're going to do it, and there's going to be a point at which you're going to walk away and say, "I'm done." Whether it's at your choice or physically. Hopefully, it's the A on that. But you have to prepare for because it's such a commitment of health of the body. You got to eat healthy, and which is not easy on the road. Let's
Yeah, no, it's
there's a
hard to.
trailer with a
Yeah.
trailer with catering and snacks that Mario will tell you I've been known to have my share of
Hey,
snacks around.
busting the crafty.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm a big crafty guy of stuff like that. Yep, milk chocolate gummies from Trader Joe's are like a new
I think
favorite of mine.
I think the older I get, I'm more conscious of it. I think when I was younger, I didn't really. I was so busy and active. I'm generally a busy and active person in life. Um, I've always been on the move kind of guy. So
Did you ever have an injury?
I think
Did you ever have something that you were concerned like, oh man, I mean, because this is
not
your livelihood.
not a not something that like was career threatening injury, but I've I've had a few where like I'll strain my hamstring or like that kind of thing. And that's actually happened like as you get older too. I definitely would like earlier this year I think I tweaked my hamstring. I was like, "Ugh."
Well, I mean, you've done it. You do fights, you do these walkouts,
Done a
walking
little bit of
backwards.
everything. Yep, little
Yeah,
backward,
I mean, that's
little bit
really
of
cool to be able
boxing,
to do all the different things that
wrestling.
you
Yep.
that
Yeah,
was
this is mania.
this is really cool stuff. All the times that you're working Steadicam and doing with The Rock, all these different wrestling shows, I wonder, like when you plan it out and you're booked to do all these
Yeah.
jobs and you're ready to. What is your like? Do you get there early? Are you doing something? Do you have a routine that you like to do? A game day routine? Is there something else that you manage to help you manage those days
You know
differently?
what the thing is? I try to eat as early as possible on a game day, and I don't eat during that. I'll drink coffee, I won't eat until the game's over, basically, because I'm trying to do Steadicam with a full stomach. It's makes me want to take a nap, you know. Like,
But
like I'm just I try not to load up on food too much. Just the day of a game is different because the set day's all real chill and you're just kind of like hanging out. But then when you get to the stadium, the buzz starts to build. Like especially this weekend. I mean, we're in Seattle. We're about to do the NFC Championship, and you can feel the energy once the day starts, and even you can feel it in the compound. The crew's ready, the director, the producer, your tape guys, your all your technicians, everybody's kind of geared up for stuff like this. This is what we do. And so when we do this isn't a big deal for us. Like we know it's important, we know we have a lot of eyeballs on it, but we just do what we do best, I think. And that's what everybody in the compound does. As far as being prepared for it, it's more just like going through your schedule, hitting your meetings, hitting your little points throughout the day that you need to attend, and just staying locked in during the game or during the day. And then it's pregame, and pregame's good too because you get a look. This is funny, Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, he was enjoying that one, huh? He was
This
enjoying.
was when Yeah, this was funny because we didn't always have full access to the field. They made it in a U shape. You couldn't go, I believe, past the numbers on the field back in the day.
That's
discriminatory.
kind of funny. That's funny that back in the day, there were limitations up to based on what you could do, like how they would be able to use Steadicam in
Shade.
the
You could
shows.
say the numbers to the sidelines and then the end zone. So
And
you just had
when
that
did it
area.
free up? When did they free up? When did they free you guys up to be more get on the
Gosh,
field?
I don't remember. It was probably like couple years after a couple years of doing it,
Were
maybe.
you ever wired or were you always RF?
I mean, I've been wired for some things. Actually how I got my chops was um when I did college game day, I would go over to the game wherever we were. If it was, especially if it was it was an ESPN ABC show, and I would walk in. They'd be like, "Hey, you want to work the game this weekend?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And I would do game day in the morning, go over for kickoff. They'd have a wire on the sidelines, and I would plug in and do a hardwired Steadicam for college football. We did that for a number of years. And then sometimes I'd get an RF rig, and sometimes it'd be wired.
That's kind of
That's
cool to be
yeah,
you
that's
added
how I
stuff. I
learned.
mean, but that's part of building relationship with these clients. Let's talk about how the relationship works because if we are talking about a career in this business and doing
Yeah.
what you do, there is a way of like I'm a freelancer, right? So I work as a daily hire. When clients, Fox, CBS, they call or they email, hopefully call TV camera guy, they call, they book me for work, I work. You kind of as a steady cam op probably work a little differently because you have to like we are our own business as a freelancer, but you're more of your own business as like a legit LLC because you're a steady cam op. You have gear that you have to rent that comes with you, attached to
Yeah,
you.
I'm a
There's
solo
insurance,
act, you know.
like
Yeah.
a vendor.
Yeah.
Well, you
It's
qualify
all
what they
that.
would
I'm
call
a
like a
vendor,
vendor.
yeah. Yeah,
So you
I'm
have
a vendor.
that's important to, but that's a require. You have to maintain all this stuff.
Yep.
So what is that part of the business like? Do you have to? Are you like? Do you have a bookkeeper? Do you have to maintain all this?
It's
Like
pretty
you're a business.
turnkey. It's pretty turnkey. And it's a pretty small system now. Like it's just me and my gear. And especially as doing this as long as I have, the business is cyclic. I'll work with some people and then it will go away and then it'll come back and then it'll go away and come back. And every 5, 6, 8 years, you'll be somewhere probably different than you were the year before. Especially with media rights. Media rights changes everything. As soon as the networks start, gaining and dropping media rights to leagues, uh, that's when shifts start to happen. You have to be aware of that. The other thing too these days is I'm not the only person out here. Like there are the guys who run the devices, the depth of field cameras. There's still a handful of us running Steadicam. Uh, so it depends on what the network wants and what their show's needs are. So I always expect to be booked as a Steadicam, and that's just what I do. I don't. I do other things like I will do handheld and camera and stuff throughout the year just to kind of sprinkle in some empty weekends.
Just to keep on the bike, just to ride the bike a
Just to
little
keep
bit.
it going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't
And
mind. I'll
I
do
feel that way
handheld.
too. Like I'm doing this a long time. I think hopefully think if I wanted to make the shift into just doing hard camera and give up the handheld. But like
Right.
I still like doing it. Like if I'm given the chance to work, I mean I still love doing sports handheld. It's just I'm going to be honest, the work on sports handheld is much more. I love music handhelds. And it's also can be more work, but for me, I enjoy that more a little bit more to play. And there's that artistic side of it, music wise. I mean, as a sports guy, getting a chance to kind of play in both worlds because when you work those Super Bowls and other things, they'll use you on the game, on the show, on the music side too, right?
Yeah,
Has
yeah,
that
yeah.
been a fun
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah, that's amazing, actually. One of the best things we ever did. There are a couple things that really stand out to me, but one of the best things we ever did was this year was halftime and Thanksgiving, which normally doesn't get a huge push for big time acts or anything like that. Um, they're good at they're good acts, what you'd kind of expect on Thanksgiving. But this year we in Detroit we got Jack White and Eminem, and that was like one of my favorite little music things that we do because we don't get to deal with music often. So when you see it and and you work with these guys. It's a whole different energy and it's a whole different way of doing things. So now you're stepping into their world and you have to learn. It's just like wrestling and WrestleMania. You have to learn their way of doing things. It's a totally different animal than doing football. So there's a bit of a learning curve. And when I do, I know we said we'll do like camera. If I do camera, handheld, hard cam, as soon as I'm doing handheld, I'm immediately like, just put me back on Steadicam. I just wish this was a Steadicam. It's easier for me than just walking around with a handheld. So I
Well,
was like, can I
you're
just put
used to
this
it. It's
on
like,
and walk out there?
I made the joke of, you want to do it to keep riding the bike, but that's when you're comfortable in something, you're comfortable in it. You know how to make it work for
It
yourself. You
is
know how to make.
nothing to me. It's nothing to me to put this on and walk out there and just do something.
Do
Listen,
you,
I'm not
you know,
perfect by any
because,
means when
but
it comes to operating, but
is that because you know your limits too? Like, you know what the game is, you know how long it is, you know where you have to peak, you know what you have to do, you know where your breaks are going to be, and you know how to take advantage of that. That's prep. You have to work on the workflow prep to make sure that you do it the right way. Is there, I was talking to, Mantac, who
yeah,
does,
John Stewart. Yep.
yeah, who
This is
does,
an amazing job over there at CBS. Yep.
but he showed me he was playing with this new arm that uses rubber bands. I go, why are you playing with this rubber band arm? He's like, well, number one, it doesn't rust with the metal, and it's 5 pounds lighter. And you mentioned earlier, like it's about weight, right? It's always
You
about
could
weight.
trim if you could trim pounds, yeah, ounces or you know, I'll look at batteries and be like, okay, is this one heavier than this one? And they might be exactly the same, but I convince
So
myself that there's a
so
difference.
do you know where your NFL rig is weighed at right now? What's it weighing in at?
I think it's probably in the high 30s because I have a dual transmitter and I run on a high speed, so I'm a three times on that, which is awesome. They put the resources in the show, Mike Davis and company, to get me a pretty sweet rig. I don't love carrying extra weight, but the stuff we get being a high speed RF Steadicam is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Mike
It's
Davies and
it's
the crew at
it's
Fox,
nice.
they're always they're always big on if we're going to have the equipment on the show, let's use it. Let's make sure we're using it at its
They don't
potential.
mess around.
No, they don't, and I love that because they create production value. They just do. I mean, I love that
They
about
do.
Fox. They were the different network. They were the startup, and they wanted to make their own thing, and they did that with so many different things, which is great. I mean, you've had a long career with them, and I hope you keep doing that with all your work with them is phenomenal. Um,
Thanks, man.
this the when
You
you're
know something I gotta say though, it's not, especially with Mike and those in the tech group and uh just our we have a we call it, it's kind of like a little big show. We don't have a ton of stuff, but we have the right stuff. We think we have a nice combo of different devices and things on there, different cameras, different operators of different skill sets. And with the people who we work with, I have to go through like four for my camera to get on air. It takes like 6 or 8 people
Right. I mean, you're
to
always going
get
to know
my
somebody's
camera
going to, I mean, when
on
you're working
air.
at the A show and you have the talent you have on that crew, somebody's going to have it. More than one guy's going
I
to have it.
don't I don't sit there and do every bit that makes my camera go on the air. We have Brian and his video guys. We have Jamie and Eddie in audio. The RF PL that I get from Mike. The the guys who put my camera and transmitter together, the EMG guys. Like, it takes so many people. And then like even Colby is our TD, and Colby's our last stop before reaching air.
Yeah,
So it's
that's a
like
funny thing when you think
there's a
most
ton
people
of
think it's
people
plug.
I have to deal with and go through, or at least not deal with, but they help get me on air. I have to
Well,
show
yeah,
up, put the rig
there's a lot
on,
more.
and run
There's a lot more
around.
cogs in this wheel than people think. You're not just a
Big
Steadicam guy.
time.
Build your
Big time.
Steadicam and blah blah blah. It's your RF, so there's transmitters and receivers that got to get hooked up and controlled and faxed out and checked, and then you got to have returns and communications and yeah, there is. I mean that is why. You're part of a team. It's a collaborative work environment. It's awesome. You bring your talents to the table, but you know that the freedom that you have and to find those shots or to take risks
Yeah,
to like especially with your camera, you have to kind of be instinctual into positioning, being, where are they going to be? Is this a time where there's going to be one of these plays where they throw it down the field? Or,
you
are
have
you
to be looking for
anticipating
it.
stuff? Or is there going to be a time where, oh, I'm going to have to be at the bench here? Or is there a player, like you have to think ahead a lot, right?
Yeah, you have to react too. That's one of the things is we don't know what's going to happen. We're watching it live just like everybody else at home. So a lot of it's like reacting and seeing what's going on around you. And part of that, like you mentioned, the bench area. I work with Tom Rinaldi and Aaron Andrews. They are awesome. Like we've been doing this for years now, and we have to work with them or them with us. We work together and be like, hey, what do you see? Right. Yeah, Erin's great. She's just always like, she'll just slap me on the back, be like, hey, over here, look at this. Or, she'll drag me over and say, hey, look at that guy. Even Tom will grab me and be like, look at this. Can you shoot this on the bench? And they're just fantastic people to work for. You couldn't ask for a better group. But there is a lot of collaboration with them, and they appreciate it. I know they do. They after almost every game, they'll be like, "Hey, thanks for this or that," and um, working with them is great. And that's how the viewer gets stuff. That's how we're able to show little things on the bench or on the sidelines that aren't in the playing surface that things that are going on that matter to the game. So working with Tom and Aaron it's a lot of fun, and they do a lot. They work hard to get you things that aren't on the playing surface directly in front of you that matter to what's happening.
Yeah,
And
that's probably the best part
they're
about those.
really they don't stop either. Like they don't care if it's raining, it's windy, it's cold, it's freezing, it's snowing. Like they're just constantly out there grinding, and we all are. Because once we get out there, we're all just kind of working together to bring it home to everybody.
I mean, you brought it up. I didn't want to bring it up, but there were some bad element games this past couple of weeks for you guys, man. You
We got
guys,
a few in
does that
December.
really affect? I mean, it affected me a
Yeah.
lot, I guess, especially. But there is a point at which you're all in it together. You're right.
Absolutely.
You're all suffering together, and then kind of especially when it becomes part of the story that it makes the story better, and you're like, all right, you sacrifice for the production of it to make it better. You're like, all right, this sucks. I'm cold, it's
Oh
snowing,
yeah.
but damn, this shot looks so much good when the guy's coming up, and it's emotional. It's great, like that's cool stuff.
It makes things very cinematic when you start having natural elements. Even oddly enough, even the wind, which is invisible, like we're in Chicago and the wind's blowing trash across the field. You can't see it, but you can see the result of it. You know what I mean? Like it's it's trying to bring that stuff home, like letting the viewers know that, hey, look, things are not straight up and down here on the field. Like there's an element here that could affect the game. Uh, we had a little bit of rain, I think, in Buffalo. Um, I can't remember where else. We've been pretty lucky over the last handful of years. We've run into a few rain games and stuff. Nothing we haven't dealt with before. As long as you prepare for it and have the gear, then you know you can you're gonna get soaked and then you can go dry out later when you get to your hotel room. you know
Yeah, I mean, I still like, I still
I
feel
love
like there's.
domes are amazing. Domes are the greatest thing ever invented. I would do a dome
Yeah,
every
I think I'm with
week.
you on that because like you could prepare, you can always prepare to do those games, and you're always trying to find. But I always found like there's no perfect gloves. There's the gloves that keep your hands warm, but you really can't work a handheld in them, and you can't really get the
Right.
grip you want. And then they won't keep you dry, or the glove that keep you dry, but then your hands are freezing, and you still like so. It's always something you have to work around to make it work. It is what it is when you're doing it, but that's kind of like it ends up being the story. After the show, you come back to the truck, you're all talking about it, and then you get to the airport and you're watching the guys at the airport trying to get on a plane, and you see a replay of your stuff, and they're all and you're like, oh, you have no idea what we had to go through. That part of it
Right.
always makes me laugh, like because when you're a fly on the wall and you're watching people observe the work and they have no idea that it was you doing it, is kind of my favorite thing to, because you that's when you realize that wow, this work impacted people. This work is being seen and paid attention to, and a lot of your work is. You're working on the A show. You guys do an amazing job. Your pictures are phenomenal. I mean, what we do as cameramen, we're storytellers, man, and we're a tool that is used by production to tell these stories, and you're one of the best tools as a Steadicam to tell a lot of those stories. Emotional, facial, game related. They're all great elements.
The guys who are on this show are all every and listen, everybody's gonna tell you their show's the best, right? Their crew's the best. Okay. That's exactly how I feel about these guys. I think personally that the skill level of every camera operator on our show, on the field, all the way up top to our game cameras, everybody, our carts, our handhelds, our lows, our just everybody's a killer on this show. And it's
No,
hard to get a
you
tally.
you got a stack lineup. You got a stack lineup. A lot of great
Yeah,
guys.
we've
A
got
lot of
we've
great
got a lot
guys.
of all-stars there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a deep bench. You got a very deep bench. Probably a couple of future Hall of Famers. You're probably a future Hall of Famer in this business for the amount of work that you've done, and
Uh,
your credentials, man. It's incredible. It really is. I mean, I know. I
I'm
mean,
lucky. I've been very lucky.
well, yeah, luck and talent, all those things, but you're also probably you were willing to take opportunity that presented itself without really knowing where they were going to lead to. You
Yeah,
just
no, I had
you
no idea I would be doing this when I started doing this. This is beyond my wildest dreams. I am probably one of the luckiest people in the business. I have an amazing seat um, at almost every event. Geez, I so one of the things that I'm not gonna say I struggle with it, but I feel bad sometimes that I'm on TV all the time. You see me, it's the nature of the rig, like I'm in there, I'm in the, it's all live, it's all reactionary. So a lot of the football stuff, you'll see me in the background, you'll see me in replays, or you'll see my camera. What kind of bums me out every now and again is like the other people I work with don't get that. Like their families don't get to see them, like my family, like my dad's like, "Hey, what game are you doing this week?" And I'll tell him, and all right, we'll be watching, and like that's fun to me that my parents can see that. But I'm not everybody who works in this business and all those guys who are shooting for this show, we don't always get on camera. So a lot of times, like I, I'm aware of my exposure, but I,
and it's
I,
humbling. I
it's
call that.
just the
You're gonna
nature of the
laugh.
beast.
I know, but you're gonna laugh. I call that the Corneli curse because Corneli was he was seen and he's
I love
I
Don.
call Corneli is like he was to me the working man. He's a definition of just the working man. That guy showed up every day to just do his job and didn't care. He didn't do it for the accolades. He didn't do it to be in the Hall of Fame. He
No,
didn't do it
no,
for the
no.
teen Emmys he had. He did it because he liked doing it, man. And the guy did it for his handheld his whole career, banging it out on big shows any day of the week. Just he was, I love it, but and he was just same way, man. He was just bashful about it because he was like, oh, I get it, because of the way it was, the position and everything else.
Yeah.
You're seen or you're unseen, but you're part of a team. Everybody gets recognition through you and your work. It's just, I know you don't like being seen, but it's kind of funny that, but it's I know like
Yeah, I don't even
I
like doing it like this. So
yeah, I
you're one
know.
of the
And
first
I
people I've
love that
ever
you're doing it because I want people to
talked
be
to at
seeing.
length about
I think
this.
I think people
So
see you, but they don't really know who you are. They don't know your story. So
I
that's what I
keep a
really
pretty
love.
low profile. So
No, but I think it's important for people to learn people's story, your path, how you get to where you got to, because a lot of people who look at you may want to be you because you, like you said yourself, you won't do it forever. And you want to see other people. There are other people doing it on other shows, and there are other people who are getting will get opportunities to work on these shows this year, right? So if there's a young guy who's somewhat learning Steadicam, knows a little bit about the rig, has put it on, can balance his camera, knows what his drop time would be. He knows the kind of basics on it, right? What do you give that guy in advice? What do you tell him? Listen, I want to start working games.
if
What
you really
advice do
want
you
to
tell
do
him?
it, keep doing what you're doing, stay active, involved. Um, I try to tell people, first of all, don't get in this business, but if you have to and you really want to, work locally, work. be available, make this what you do. Get in somewhere where they have equipment, where they have people. You never know who you're going to meet, especially like the situation where I walked at ESPN. I looked over there and there's Steadicam sitting in the corner, and I'm like, "Oh, is that a Steadicam over there?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna grab that later." And you just have to show initiative and a desire to want to do this. So I always made myself available, volunteered for things, um, and then tried to. I listen. I knew that the NFL was, and will be, outside of soccer,
World
one of the
Cup is
biggest
king.
sports
They're
in the
king.
world.
Yeah, they're a big sport.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Globally, yes, but in the NFL is the biggest product, and I always knew I wanted to be around it. So I tried to work my way onto those football shows, especially in the studio. And then when ESPN got the opportunity to get Monday Night Football, and Jeff Zachary was moving over to NBC, there was an opening at Monday Night Football. I listen. I think I went up to Jeff like years before, and we were talking, and I'm just a kid. I'm in my 20s. Yeah, I was talking to him, and I'd be like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna do your job one of these days." He's probably looking at me like, "Fuck you." Like, don't, like he's like, I'm working over here. I kind of I thought about you many years later that I said to him, I want to do what you do. But as it turns out, there was enough room for everybody. So he went on to go to NBC, which, is an absolute marquee, obviously, show for Sunday Night Football. I got to work it out on Monday Night Football. And Monday Night Football, by the way, when I first started doing Steadicam field access, it was not what it is today. And the way I did it wasn't how it is today either. I think I remember I used to work sidelines because I would see that's how Jeff did it. But then at one point, I don't know. I think the problem I was having, not the problem, but like if I worked the near side and the play went to the far side, it took me a while to get across the field to get in on the touchdown. So at one point, I think I said, "Hey, can I stand under the goalpost? And then that way, when they score, I can go to either side if they go to the sidelines." And that's kind of how the under the goalpost thing started, I believe, as we just started standing there and then no one had a problem with it. And it made getting on the field for scoring plays, at least, uh, pretty quick. So it took me a little while to kind of get this down, but I within a little while though, we were able to fine tune it. And then I think I kind of remember like a bit of a eureka moment after about a year or so of doing it. We did a scoring play, and all of a sudden things just went crazy. And the director took me. I got the tally, and it was a long tally. He took me from the score, and I chased the guys all over the field, kind of like something like this, up and down the sidelines, the whole thing. And that's where you kind of figure out, like, okay, in this 15 to 18, 20-second window, what can I provide? What can I show them? What can I do? And how do I make it interesting?
I think that's awesome that you kind of had the freedom to talk to the director and say, "Hey, listen, traditionally my camera's being used this way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I can give you some alternative shots and expand what I'm the offerings of this, and use it differently, which is awesome. And then the league started to give you more leeway because, like you said, you had to maintain distance. Then you were allowed to run onto the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
And
And then we
all
got
those
full
things.
access, and then now it's what you see today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's the advancement. I mean,
we almost had a
your
similar
camera
situation.
and the Skycam are the two biggest changes I think to NFL broadcast, and obviously the high speed frame rates. But as far as
Actually, for my
equipment,
first and 10. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nothing beats Skycam though, man. I mean,
oh yeah,
shit.
and you talk about another. I'm gonna have to get him on one of these days. An unsung hero guy too, Vinny Scafidi. I'm gonna drop his name.
Oh my
He's been
God.
your
He's one of my favorite people in the world.
Oh, mine too. He's a phenomenal guy, awesome and an awesome operator, and very, very modest about his work and what
He
he's
is
done.
very modest. I don't think, yeah, I don't think people understand what he's done over the years, and the, the way they document plays on that rig is pretty sweet, and he's got it dialed in. It was something funny with. I just remembered that, like, when we tweaked the football thing, once we learned how to do that, once we realized we could kind of mess with positioning a little more, uh, that reminded me. So we did that also way back in College Game Day. I started in 2002 season on that show, right after 9/11. So it was kind of a weird time, but when we were doing game day, we used to have bike racks and barricades, like rock and roll barriers in the front row, and everybody would come, and there would just be like a square thing. It was just a wall of people for whatever, 30 yards, 30, 40 yards, a bike rack. And during a 2 hour show, when you're on campus and the kids are all there and it's crazy and they have their signs, and it's a lot like what game day looks like today. They bring their signs and all the energy and stuff, and you'd shoot these kids in the front row, put them on TV with their signs, whatever, their fandom, their whatever they're dressed in. Uh, but I always remember, like, there were some people in the back. I was like, yeah, I want that person, so I would stand up on the barricades with that little lip where you could stand up and look over the crowd. So I'd walk up to the barricade, stand on it, pick out um, someone for the crowd. Hey, you, come here with your sign. And so we'd bring them closer to the front. So we did that for a while, and then one week we were in LSU and we did a show on a parking structure ramp or something. I remember the set was at the top, but the crowd was kind of like down the spiral parking ramp that you would drive on. But they left a lane for safety so you could walk down. But so basically, I had the front row, and then I could go down the side like an L, and I could keep going down the side. So I had access deeper in the crowd to more people, different shots throughout the show. And that's when we figured out, I was like, yeah, can we get this shaped? Basically, that's how we came up with the pit. I think Peter Lyon was the director. And that's how we came up with the pit for College
Now,
Game Day. That's how
now
the PA day has a
a
pit
pit
now.
meaning
So I
you
could
created
walk
a
around the
a
whole
working
thing.
space within the group, right?
Yeah, so we basically put a moat around the pit. So we had the pit, and then we'd have a bike racks so I could travel in a circle around the whole thing. So now I had access to way more kids, way more signage, way more fans, shoot differently, the whole crowd. That was a big change, was when we started putting the pit in, because then we started like traveling like tons of bike racks. I remember the guys from West River would have to load like a truck full of bike racks, and we would build a pit, and that's how it became what it is. If I remember that correctly, I'm pretty sure that's how that happened
All right. Well,
a long time ago.
no, we started this thing talking about your Steadicam, and you said you kind of work on the same rate that you kind of started out with. I mean, the guys who probably do this would kill me if I didn't ask you, what is your rig? Is it a Steadicam rig? Because I know said the actual Steadicam was bought by Sackler, and there's other guys who make different arms, and there's different
Yeah, no,
What?
mine's
Give me the configuration so that way the
Mine's just
guys
a
know.
pro Cine Live. It's a Steadicam Pro, Cine Live. It's a basic rig, but it's
No,
nice,
no
tight.
special arm, no special gimbal, no special zoom. What's your mon? Do you have
I
a
use a
certain
small
monitor that you like?
HD high bright, like what is this, 7 inch? I think 7 inch high bright daylight monitor. That's one of the big things. If you can see your monitor, you're great, because I mean, not everything's at night, not everything's inside. So working daylight, middle of the day, stuff like that is, you need to be able to see your monitor. I have a zoom control that's manual. It's right on my thumb. Like I said, I do a stripped down basic rig. I basically want a pickup truck that I can drive through the mud. I don't want a Porsche that I have to be very careful with. Like, I want to be able to just be in the rain and the weather and the dirt. And uh, so the less complicated stuff I have, the less points of failure I would have.
All
And
right,
that's what, every
so
time you add an element, you're adding a chance of failure.
all right, so you figured out what you like, you've worked it out. So let me ask you, when there's different things or things that you want to try out, You mentioned Jeff Zachary and some of the other guys that you know who do this. Do you guys all communicate? Do you guys shoot each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
emails? And do you guys, hey, I saw that you're using this arm. What do you like
yeah.
about it? You know, what is that kind of, what is that camaraderie like in the Steadicam world?
Oh, it's great. I have a good friend, Dave Liebling. He's done a number of things. He is pretty talented with all kinds of equipment. Actually, I was with him this summer in New York. We did a demo for NBC, like a tech demo in the spring. Dave runs Trinities. I don't know if you ever see a Trinity, but a Trinity is one of the most cinematic devices I've ever used. I think you have there's a couple clips that I may have sent you, or at least a picture of me walking around with the Trinity at the Hall of Fame game. We tried it out one year. It's pretty bulky, but it was one of those situations where it was like, all right, let's try this. It's a type of set. Yeah, that's Dave. There was
Is that the rig you're talking about, or or
no, it's the Hall of Fame, that one right there, back one.
oh,
Yeah, that rig right there is the Trinity. I have it upside down, so it's Steadicam. You can flip it over and you can shoot in low mode. So the camera's down there shooting up at, yeah, it's CD Lamb. Um, we tried it out
and
that week, and just because I was like, look, this is a neat device. We got to see if it's useful for us. We put a camera, we put a P50, we made it RF. We put a broadcast wide angle lens on there. I had a zoom control. I did some neat stuff, but it's awfully bulky. I discovered it was awfully bulky. Um, and
so
it's very
it was an
specific.
option
You
that you
have to
tried out, but you
know
wouldn't. Would you use it again? Would you play with it again? But it would have
on a
to be like,
football game. I mean, you'd have to dedicate that, and I think someone else tried it for a season or two. Is you have to dedicate it to certain things because it's so bulky and it's a lot to deal with. That's a 60-pound rig at least. There's a lot of technology in that thing. But that's the thing. So I wanted to use it. Dave was an expert at it. We brought Dave in with the Trinity, and we tried it. And that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy, is that you get to play with things, um, and kind of tweak. Like, you look at things like, okay, is this the best solution, what I'm doing there right now, or is the Trinity a better option? And that's why we did it. We wanted to see if we were missing something, and we didn't really feel like we were. We actually thought it would kind of handcuff you a little bit. um because so my style, like with that rig that you were just showing, like my style is kind of like, I'm hauling ass, I'm a run and gun. I want to be able to fly around, I want to be light as possible. So the lighter it is, the faster I am. And that's basically my my that's the preferred setup right there. Just as little stuff as possible. And batteries are heavy.
yeah. Well, the batteries are always going to be
Batteries
the
are always
problem.
heavy.
Yeah, the batteries are always the issue. Um, so
The
you work with
first the
utility.
first RF camera I had was like, I we used to use full size cameras. We used to use like a full size build up Handa,
All
and
right. So
then
what?
throw a
So wait. So what was
transmitter
the
on the
weight?
back.
What was the weight difference on the first rig that you had to mount to the weight difference you're at now?
RF, they're almost the same actually. You would think
Oh,
after
that's
20
not the good
years,
formula.
you think after 20 years it would go down. No, it's because we had the extra transmitter in the battery so we can do high speed. That's what. Now the rigs are pretty good. If I'm doing just a normal broadcast without high speed capabilities and it's RF, we'll use one battery, one transmitter, and it's fine. It's not that bad.
How many
I'm
battery
used to
changes
it.
are you doing during a game?
During the game on Fox, I'll change like every 30 minutes, maybe. So we do like 6 or 8 changes. Um, and we did a good job. We were draining a lot of power last year. So here's like a very detailed thing, but we were draining a lot of power last year at the Super Bowl. So we were banging through batteries. And then this year, we had time uh to tweak the power setup, so we drain less power now, we're using less batteries, it's much more efficient. And I'm not changing like every 20 minutes. I can change actually probably closer to 40 minutes now. I can get through a whole quarter, but I try not to risk it because you don't want your camera dying in the middle of a shot. So
Now, do you pick up local utilities and work with them, or do you have your regular group on the A show of utilities that are your support guys?
No, they bring in different people every week. That's one of the parts of the job that is it's not it's not hard, but it's something you have to deal with. That's part of my day day sorry, my game day prep. Part of my game day prep is getting the utilities up to speed, telling them what I want, showing them where we're going to be, and explain to them what I'm going to do and to be ready for anything kind of thing. When you're out there doing games, you have to manage. So you got to remember, I have earbuds in. You know, obviously you know this, but people who aren't. So I'll have earbuds in. I'm in the stadium. I'm on the field around the players. There's stuff going on around me. I've got the director talking. I've got other camera guys talking. I'm talking to my utilities. I'm talking to my security guy. I'm also talking to the talent on the sideline. There's a lot of like managing going on, and I'm multitasking. And I'm also looking up, looking at the play, looking at the down and distance, looking at the scenarios, looking at the yardage, looking at time on the clock, all of those things that has to have to happen like simultaneously, and one of those is definitely managing the utilities, because in between plays, it's if I can rest, I'll rest. They come over, put the camera on the rig on the stand.
Yeah, and
Looks like they're
you
going to
don't have
break the
time
huddle,
you don't have
pick it
time to
up.
talk about that during the game. You need game time. You need to be efficiently ready to
Right,
do everybody. That's not the time to have those discussions. So you make sure, like, hey, during before or during meal, which ones are my guys? Oh, okay, right. That's what
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll catch them at the security meeting, be like, okay, here, come on, let's talk about this. I've gotten pretty good at, I kind of know what's important now, like what to focus on, and be like, hey guys, can we do this and that, or watch out for this and that. But there's a lot of managing going on. I'm sure John Mantek would say the same thing. I'm sure Richie would say the same thing too. That you're very busy when you do all of this, especially when you're on the field, because the crossing of players, when, like, say the special teams is out there and they return a punt, and then you're bringing the quarterback on, but the special teams coming off while you're going on, so it's almost like you're just like a wall of humanities kind of colliding briefly. And that's where you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel and watch out for these guys too, because you have to be safe. The league trusts us, the network trusts us to be safe and smart around these guys, so you have to kind of keep your head on a swivel. And between managing my utilities and everything else that's going on, you just have to be really careful and focused.
Now you mentioned Richie. Richie Liable is another Hall of Famer, legendary camera
He's
guy.
awesome.
I did utility for him. One of my first gigs when he was back doing handheld, and he was just. I was like, man, this guy's good. I was like, holy cow. I was just trying to experiment. Still, I was like at that thing, and I remember there's times in this business when, like people are probably looking at you saying, just like you looked at Jeff saying, I want to get to your thing. I
Yeah.
was looking at Richie like, oh, and then he ended up shifting into Steadicam. And I one time put the Steadicam rig on, but I knew my limitations and I was like, you know what? I kind of like handheld. And I was really thinking I wanted to shift from handheld into when I was doing football more often, I wanted to do like a low end zone. I love the field of view of the game from that
Yeah.
low light. Your
Awesome.
camera too. It is the most awesome view of that sport. To be low level, there with the plays is phenomenal. So like I love doing the handheld and I love the low end zone because you have a chance to really work the lens, get those faces. You really you're in there and you feel in that. So I love that part of it. I mean, that's what you're really in there because you're running into the thing. You use a little bit of your glass, but you're I mean, do you ever keep track of your steps? Do you have a record? Do you know what that is? Like,
Yeah, actually, funny with the watches, we've been able to, the Apple Watch, we're able to kind of do that. I think during the Super Bowl, I don't have, I can't show it to you, but I have it. I know I have
all
it
right, do
somewhere.
me a favor. If you
I
got
have a
that research,
track
if you got
of
the research
my,
on your phone, on that iPhone, whatever
it's
thing,
about five
track it. Find the
miles.
Super Bowl and send me the freaking screenshot. I'm gonna put it out on social.
I have a
your
thing where it just
steps.
shows it tracks my actual foot patterns, like where I went. So it like you just see lines all over a football field. It's pretty funny. And
Yeah,
then randomly
send me one of
there's
those.
one that goes
I
out to
want to
like
see
the
that.
parking lot.
That's hysterical. Because I remember I went to Disney with the family, right? And you know you're gonna get your steps in at Disney,
Right, right.
man.
You gotta track your
And
steps. Yeah.
I looked at my the health app on the iPhone, and it looked at the days leading up to, and I looked at the Disney days, and they were like, I'm like, man, my phone must have think it got stolen.
Through the roof. Yeah.
So do you
Yeah, I do about 4 to 5 miles a game.
oh really? That's the average, 4 to 5 miles a game. That's a bigger number than I would have thought, man. Up and down the
Hauling
field.
the rig around,
Yeah.
dragging that thing up and down the field.
Wow, that's a surprising number to me. 4 or 5 miles, and you got the data to back it up too, so I won't question it, man. Holy
Yeah, yeah,
sh!
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's a
I've
lot, man.
tracked it enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. But is do you have a I mean, you said you like domes, that
Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
in warm weather places. But is there a favorite place you like to work? Is there a place you'd want to work that you haven't done? Have you done that, some of the international games? Is there one that you like? Like I did Mexico
No.
City. That was an experience
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
So
I did Mexico City twice. It was okay. I'm a bit of a homebody, so I don't go
where is home
anywhere.
for you?
Let me put it this way, I don't go anywhere when I get home. So I do all my traveling, at work.
No,
So
where is home for you? Where is your home
I live in
market?
Connecticut, still in
Oh, you're
Connecticut.
Connecticut. I mean, you're a road guy, but do you work local still? Do you try to work local
I
or no?
can't.
What?
I'm just not around.
Yeah,
Although Fox is
you're
pretty good. Every once in a while, I'll call for UConn or something, and I might go do I think last year I did the women's tournament in Mohegan Sun.
uh,
So I did handheld for it. It's one of
oh,
those
look at
things
you.
where it's just like, might as well do it. It's indoors. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite places to do this, this is like kind of my shtick, was San Diego. When the Chargers used to be in San Diego. My sister
You
lived
like that
out there.
Qualcomm? I love San Diego, but you like Qualcomm Stadium? That was
No,
horrible.
I just love being in San Diego.
Oh, I know.
San Diego's amazing.
Oh, that. You know what? You and I have that in common. That was I mean, I'm a New Yorker, man. You're an East Coast guy. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
hard for an East Coast guy to think West Coast life until you get to San
But
Diego, and then you're
until
like,
you get to San
oh,
Diego.
I get it.
Yeah, you can see why they put up with all that stuff, all the traffic and everything, because you're like, oh, you pay for the lifestyle to live out here. There are a million other things to do on a Sunday. Going to football games ain't one of them. But back in the day when the Chargers were there, and used to do a ton of games out there, and I always used to say that every football team should just be from San Diego, and all the games should be played in San Diego. So,
Yeah,
or
I know.
dome.
It's surprising to me. It's a great city, great town. I mean, they do have baseball, but like well, you know what it
There
is
are
too.
other
California,
things to do.
California, it's college town. That's
Yeah.
these college games and everything else. They're big now. They're big shows, big productions. That's for sure too. There's a
People would
ton of
rather go
Steadicam. I see a ton of
surfing or go
Steadicam
to the
stuff.
beach.
I mean, you gotta feel not responsible, but your guys' work helped grow the amount of use of Steadicam now. Like I said, it's on different college shows at major levels now
I guess,
because
yeah.
you guys put it on the map. Jeff, the guys you
I say,
mentioned
yeah,
are the
Jeff did
pioneers.
it, and
And
Jeff
Tori,
made
I
it
gotta mention
happen.
Tori in terms of like, I don't know, I think of Tori
Tory.
on too. Like, there's so many great guys. Nick Feo in New York. There's so many great guys who do
Oh yeah,
Steadicam
oh
work.
yeah, oh yeah,
Manny Gutierrez,
yeah.
Junior. There's a list of guys in this market and other markets that do Steadicam. They're all, if you're doing that, man, if you see those guys, I like Manny he has a great patch on the back of his rig, and it says, "Yes, it's heavy." you know, like what's the question you get asked the most when you tell people what you do?
um, they want tickets.
Oh,
Can you
yeah,
get me
yeah,
tickets?
yeah. Oh, you working Super Bowl? Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's not.
yeah.
Have you ever been
Let
able
me
to
get you some
go?
let me get you some Super Bowl tickets real quick. I'll come right back with those. Let me ask Russo.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know,
I've
but I
been
mean,
listen. I have benefited here and there from my position doing this. I've been able to bring family in to watch me do it. My parents have actually come to see me in New England. I do actually enjoy doing. I grew up a Patriots fan, so I did. During the Tom Brady years, we were there quite a bit, and that was a lot of fun to be able to bring some of my family in to watch me do those type of games. So those were, and you're doing them when you're doing them, you don't really think about it. And now looking back 10, 15, almost 20 years later, you're like, wow, those were some pretty good times. It's kind of like when I first started ESPN, I would work on studio shows, and a lot of the times I'd work on the Sunday night Sports Center, just as
wait,
a camera, a jib or something.
how is that now? Doing the fact that you said you're a New England guy, you
Yeah,
got a chance to cover a lot of Brady's career, and you were there for.
yeah,
I mean, his career speaks for itself. I mean, the one of the best to ever play that position for sure.
yeah.
And he's a great. I've talked to some of the guys who work on the crew. They all said he's been really great, approachable, appreciative of the
Oh yeah,
work, really cool thing. So that's got to be funny for you, full circle, being a guy who was a fan
it
from
is
that thing,
kind of
and
funny.
now he's on your crew with you.
What's
You see him
really
in the
funny,
compound.
what's really funny is the first traveling show I did out of, kind of pretty much like get on an airplane thing was go to Canton for that Hall of Fame. And it was the Patriots and the 49ers were playing in the Hall of Fame game. And I believe that may have been his first year there after he got drafted from Michigan. So I remember being there at the Hall of Fame game, and it's the 49ers and the Patriots, and I think Tom Brady was there. Right. So like one of the first things I did was right when he started, and then it wasn't for like another 6, 7 years later then I actually started doing football games, and then it becomes a thing. Well, actually, I was working on NFL studio shows, so all the football NFL shows for ESPN. We'd go to the Super Bowls. So from like 2001, 2002, to all the way on during that early stretch of the Brady run, we were in the Super Bowl cities. So I was still involved with it. It wasn't until I think '06 that I started doing actual football games.
So that's kind
But
of
yeah,
funny.
it is wild that now after all that time, almost 30 years, whatever it's been, that Tom's on our show.
You're on the same crew with him. You see him in the compound.
He's my coworker.
Have you had any interaction with him or any other player? They recognize you. I mean, you've been doing it so
No,
long. Some of the
no,
guys who are veteran
I don't
veteran
want to talk
guys.
to him.
Come on.
You never meet your heroes. No,
When
I'm kidding.
I used to do a
He's
lot of
nice.
the
He
Giants home
said
games.
hi,
And
and
who says hi to you?
but no, Brady, like he walked by, or like he came in he'll it's a general to the group kind of thing, but he comes in, talks to us, says hi, and leaves. We don't bother him. We don't expect anything out of him. It's Tom
No,
Brady.
but no, I'm asking like if while you
Like,
were working on the field doing your thing
oh,
pregame or whatever, and you've been doing it for so long. A lot of those players have been around for many, many years. And they've seen you. The crew comes to town. They know who it is. They know. They see you there. Have you ever had interaction with the guys who recognize you and remember you, and they see you and they play to
kind
you?
of,
Or
yeah. Yeah, every now and again they'll, someone might say something or whatever.
are
I
are are,
actually
are
don't
Are there
I
guys like
don't
I was
talk to
thinking
them.
about this one thing because I was thinking Kittle has a thing with the Skycam guys with Vinny when or any Skycam
Yeah,
he'll look at
Kiddo
him
will
and
mess with me too occasionally. He'll like
yeah,
squirt a
are there
lot of
other
oil
guys
at
that you
me.
peg that are like this guy's a what I don't know a Steadicam friend or that he'll play to your camera? Are there other guys in the league that you're like on this game I know I got to find
Honestly,
him.
honestly, these days, almost everybody's pretty much into it. It's a younger set of players than like when I started, if that makes sense. Like this generation is they're, Drake May is he's a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? Like they have a different attitude about it as opposed to um, say maybe Brett Favre or even like Aaron Rodgers or Eli Manning, like or Peyton Manning, like they it's a little bit different. And
Oh,
especially
so you
the
feel
kids
like
today
in
grew up on watching us do this. They've seen it kind of develop over the years, the celebrations and stuff. So they know to look for it now. Like this is all natural to them. They just expect to see that camera in the end zone.
So,
That's
so
what's
do you
fun.
think you think the way the coverage has changed and the player reaction to the coverage has changed, like the way it was when you were doing it with Peyton and those guys? Now, like you see more, like before they were not playing to the camera. Now you'll see more guys play to your camera because I think it. You know what
Mo
I think it comes
mostly,
to?
mostly.
I think I think it's I've mentioned this before on other episodes that one of the impacts on broadcast has been there's been a little bit of what I call like a kind of reversal. Like for a long time, the games were trying to mimic gaming companies were trying to mimic the broadcast to make the look like the game look like but now where the broadcast is trying to look like the games a little bit. You know what I mean? With those shallow depth of field cameras and those low angle looks, and especially with Steadicam, because I felt like that POV look kind of was that gaming look that you always had when you were in a playing a game, a point of view game. And
Not
Steadicam
everybody
is
was
like the
doing it
ultimate point of
when
view.
not everybody was doing it when Steadicam first came onto the NFL shows. There was only like two or three of us, or it was Jeff, myself, and uh uh no, I forget his name. Why am I blanking on it? We're talking so long. Um, there was only a few of us doing it basically, and for a while it was only like three of us maybe doing it. It was John, myself, and Richie for a long time after after Jeff started stopped doing games. But it was Jeff, myself, Richie, and John, I believe, for a while.
Was there is there a moment where you think it arrived? Is there a time frame? Do you think what was it? Was it the pandemic? Did it bring it back? Did the pandemic affect your part of it? Increase, decrease? Because I feel like that's been a major like turning point in our industry was pre and post pandemic.
Pandemic was a big reset. It was kind of a big reset because it was so the thing with the pandemic and Steadicam because the whole thing 6 feet personal space all that stuff social distancing um we were the first ones to get chopped and we were the last ones to kind of come back because everything we did is within an arm's reach of most of these guys so being that close to people obviously wasn't cool for that. So um there were just shows like went away and never came back. And it was a big like reshuffle. And then at the same time, like a little bit after, that's when the depth of field started showing up.
I mean, I feel
But
like
they're different. Depth of field is different than what the Steadicam is. I told you I run a like a run and gun kind of thing. I'm a bit like a handheld, but it's a Steadicam. The Meg type devices, the depth of field devices, they're a tool in the drawer, just like anything else. It has a purpose. It shines for certain things, but it's not a Steadicam killer. It's not an ultimate tool, at least not yet. There are things you can do with Steadicam that you can't do with the depth of field camera.
yeah. I mean, let's talk about the difference with um what do they call it? Those movies or the different kind of Ronins and the other gimbal type cameras. I mean, they're different. They are a different tool. Like because like you said, every tool's has a use for it. I don't particularly know. Like some of that look, I think is good, but it's not the same game as Steadicam for game action. You know what I mean?
Right. That's exactly what I was saying. It doesn't do the same thing. It's not a killer. It doesn't do the same thing.
So
They're
you
neat, but they're they're different. And and while it has a lot of forgiveness because it auto, it auto levels and stuff. So you don't here's the difference is a steady cam versus say like a handheld or any other type of moving type of you have to be able to move the camera through space. That's the thing with the steady cam. You have to be able to do it in a way that's kind of pleasing to the eye, so to speak. And that's where you learn, like on like game days or studio shows. that kind of toned down, settled, controlled environment where you have to fly the camera through space. That's the only way I can describe it. It's
Well, is so is that is
when
that
you have a device on a gimbal, you can just walk up there. You don't have to worry about your technique or style. You can just crash the shot, throw your lens in front of the guy, and it's there.
yeah. Well,
Whereas
I get
Steadicam, you
I get
want
what
to
you're
be
saying when
able
you're
to
saying
fly.
yeah. Well, I get what
That's
you're
why we
saying when you
call
say
it
navigating
flying.
through space. Yeah, but when you I get that when you're navigating through space because and you're moving through space, there's momentum there. So like you have to judge you're manually controlling your speed, so you slow your own self down. You know how to maintain the fluidity better because it's your body it's your body when it's not the same way when it's a you know different handheld gimbal of device. You know what I mean? So you have more control over that type of thing of the ease of the tool, how you use it in, easing it out because it's weighted, right? You have to balance it a certain way, and when you're that movement, that stop can shift a little bit, right? That's a
Yep.
feel thing, right?
Yep. That's one of those things where I can't explain to you. It just is that, and that's where I guess I have the comfort, or the I have the luxury of being comfortable in it and with it. So I can fly the camera around. I can stop on a dime if I have to. I can stop on a dime and back up and, hit the gas and start heading the other way. Like it's the rig now, it's been like this way for a long time, is that it's just kind of part of me. I don't, I,
And
one of my favorite things is
how
putting,
long does it take you to gear up? Like when
eh,
you unbag, you unbox your thing, you're ready to go. Like if you had to get ready
it takes a
quickly
few minutes
and
because I
you
got
were
to put
like,
all the stuff on, and the vest and the armbands and the radio and the earpiece and the thing, and then weather too. Weather's kind of a thing. If you have to gear for weather, then that's a little bulky. That's one of the worst things about weather and rain we were talking about earlier, is that when you have to get all this extra stuff on, it does slow you down. So I don't feel as like crisp or fast or on point when I'm in rain gear, when my camera has a rain cover on it. My rain cover on a camera, like if you look at it, it sits by my head, so it's almost like having a board here. So I can't see my peripheral left. And if I have a rain cover on, I really can't see. So I have to like look over the camera, underneath the camera, around the front of it or back. Whereas if there's no rain cover on, I kind of look through all the little holes and I can see stuff coming on my left. And that's part of operating that you get used to. And those are the challenges of weather. And when
yeah, yeah. Well,
when
yeah.
things
Those are always
change.
the workarounds. So I know when I see you in shorts and just the vest and a t-shirt,
I'm happy.
you're at your
I'm
peak.
full
You're at the
strength. I'm
peak.
happy. Yeah.
Well, man, I really can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to me and talk Steadicam stuff, man. I really am so
Thanks,
impressed
Harry.
with your work and how, and you're at the top of your game and you've been there for a while and you're going to stay there, man. I love your attitude about it. I love that you're so comfortable doing it. And, like there is something about it that is so exciting, but then is comforting. Like most people don't understand, like, how do you handle live sports and your light is on, you tally and you like that is the best feeling of it. When the light is on, then I know I'm the show, and that's what you do it for. You do it to be the
Yeah.
show. You know what I mean? And when you hear your replay or whatever, everybody knows there. What's your machine?
Yellow. Lars
See,
is running
everybody knows
yellow
their
for me. I
machine.
loved Lars, by the way. Shout out to Lars. He is just
Lars is your. I got to get Lars on too.
Lars
Lars is
makes me look
phenomenal.
Lars makes me look like a genius out there sometimes. I'm like, holy shit, you got that? And he found it. And yeah, yellow. Every
Yeah,
once
well,
in a while, I get a
that's true.
replay. I get some good stuff.
Yeah, shouting out the team, man. Lars AVS op. That
Love
yellow is
Lars.
his machine. I love that. I love to every camera guy knows his machine. Why? Because we do it because we care. We're contributing to a show. We're out there in the elements. We're suffering. You're spending the time to get ready for the game. Why? Because you want to participate. You want to be part of the story. So when it does happen, the light happens. That is not when we're nervous. That's when we're the most excited because that's the
Yeah.
payoff. That's kind of the little bit of the high. You know what I mean? That's
This
when
is
you
what we
feel
do. And That's why we do it. I'll tell you what, I do this. I'll tell you why I do this. And I've told other people this. Even this week, someone asked me, and I was like, look, I do this to do Super Bowls. That's really why I do this. And that was kind of the goal from the beginning. I didn't know I was going to be doing Super Bowls, but I was like, hey, look, I have a seat at the table. Let's see what happens. Let's,
Yeah, I mean,
and
what
let's take this, let's go
I've
for
been
the
I've been
ride.
lucky enough to do it. How many have you done?
Um, Quite a bit, quite a bit. I've done
Yeah,
with
like
Fox directly as the game, just with Fox. I think I have six with Fox. Um, I've been at almost, I'm not gonna say I've been at every Super Bowl. I think like every 5 or 6 years I don't go. Uh, Kind of like when NBC had it. I even went for NBC once, so I had a stretch going there for a while. But CBS will bring me with their studio show. Mike Arnold will ask me to come and help out a little bit with the game people. That's tremendous, and obviously the Fox is the full blown experience when we have the game, and you know what, we know like
yeah,
it's the
but
Super
I
Bowl.
like you said.
We know
You know
there are
what?
going to be 1 million people, 100 million people watching. Like we know this, so it's
Yeah,
a it's a
and
it's
that's
a
why
good
you do it.
time
Like,
to it's a good time to show off. That's when you want to show off a little bit is when you get to a Super Bowl and you see an opportunity and you're like, all right, I got something here.
no, but you're right. That's why I say I love your attitude about it. I do this for the Super Bowls. Is right because you never know when you might have done your last one, and it's an honor to
That's
be asked to do it. And you're right.
totally.
We talked in the beginning. You don't you like aspire to get there, and the fact that you've
Yeah.
achieved it more than once, and I was able to do it more than once, and it blows me away. I'm like, I cannot believe how lucky I am to have gotten the opportunity, but I don't take that opportunity lightly. So when it came and I got a chance to do it, my last Super Bowl was Brady's in Tampa for CBS. I did a 4K
I was
camera.
there.
I mean
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that experience, and it was a weird one because that was the one with the empty seats.
It was
The
half
COVID
empty.
Bowl,
Yeah, yeah,
half empty, but I still took in
yeah,
the experience knowing because this might be my last one, man. This might be the last
yeah.
one. You get asked to the dance only a few times. And that was the last one I've done so far. I mean, hopefully I get a chance to do one in the future, but I don't know. You never know. You never know, what gets you there and how it's luck and it's your talent and it's bringing it and and taking advantage of those opportunities. I mean, you took a risk in shifting from ESPN to Fox, not you took a bet on yourself and it paid off, man. You knew you had the talent and you knew if you just worked hard at it, the payoff would come. You didn't know what that payoff would be, and now you like it.
No.
That's fun. It is fun to do those big shows, man. It just is. The chill, the excitement. That is like it is one of those things that you don't explain. You can't explain, but you tell other people what it's like, so that way they chase it too. And I think you've done
I'll
that,
leave you
man.
with this. I do actually there, especially as I've over the years gone on, you do a couple Super Bowls and you're like, wow, this is pretty wild. I think by the second one, first one was amazing. We did in Texas. It was Rogers' first one against the Steelers. That was a great game for me. I had a tremendous game, great broadcast, great game. The whole thing was great. Next game we did in New York, the next Super Bowl we did was in New York City, and it was like a 40-point blowout. It was Broncos and Seahawks, and it was like over by halftime. That was the one where by halftime things are like just out of control. And that's the one where I started to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna have some fun with this one, and like the second half of my second Super Bowl of doing it with Fox, we just kind of like messed around a little bit, had more fun with it, kind of enjoyed the moment. It kind of like lived in the moment a little more because it all goes really fast. Like you think, a 20-hour day at the Super Bowl is murder, but it's the Super Bowl. Like you grind and you just go and it just happens. It's a living animal. It's
Yeah,
incredible. And I think
but you see how it
even at
stuck
the
with you. You see how
last
they that
even at the last Super Bowl we did this year, where were we? I forget. Arizona? Yeah, Arizona, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I think
I think
you
it was
did
Arizona. I don't
it.
know. Well, so
But
basically,
we,
so the subsequent Super Bowls after my second and third, the third one was the Brady Falcons comeback game. So that was invaluable for the experience it gave me on, like, end of game championship
That I
overtime
mean,
wins. And
yeah,
then
I talked to Victor
the
last week
next
about like
ones,
that. You never know when history is going to happen,
you
and that
don't.
was his story.
And the next ones, I remember before I'd go out for coin toss, and just before kickoff, I would kind of pause on the field every now and again. Just we did the coin toss, teams go to their bench, they're about to come out, and just kind of would pause, stop, look up, and actually look around in a stadium and just kind of be like, holy shit, like look at all these people, look at all this stuff.
Yeah, I've done that too. I had an opportunity. Super Bowl 45 was the only time I did the handheld with Donnie and in Dallas, and I did the coin toss, and I did the same thing, man. I turned, and actually I remember I had no assignment at halftime, and so that was the Black Eyed Peas. And I was on the Green Bay
Yeah, yeah,
sideline,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they left, and I sat on the Green Bay. I had the best seat in the house for the
Yeah, watching the
halftime
whole
show.
thing. Yeah,
Watched the whole thing. It was like phenomenal. And I'm like, oh, this was for good. And I remember like it's one of those you took in the moment. Like I remember taking in that moment,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I hope this conversation and talking to you
It was fun.
inspires people to chase those moments because you don't know they're going to happen. You don't know where your career will go. But if you work hard enough and you dedicate yourself to this craft under whatever craft you choose, you can get there. There's no way. I didn't believe it could happen to me. He didn't believe it could happen to him, and it could happen to you. So I just want to end with
You
that.
never know.
All right,
Nice.
buddy. Thanks, man. Thank you so much for doing this, man. Your career
You're
was
welcome. My
just
pleasure,
so
Hard.
really cool to talk about, man. I'm so excited. I'm going to watch you. I can't wait to watch you. Where are you now? Did you traveled in, right? I was worried about you
Yeah,
making
we're
it. Where are you?
mid Seattle, my hotel room in Seattle. So
Do you like Seattle? Is it a good one for you? A good
love it.
city?
It's one of my favorites. Everything on the West Coast is my favorite. I don't know. I'm that kind of guy. East Coast or West Coast is
I,
fine. Stuff in the middle is all right. But
Yeah, I've caught like Seattle is like I don't know about Seattle in now, but I've caught Seattle early season and when it's really really nice weather there. I love that, man.
last week was
Like
gorgeous. It was like 6 degrees in Chicago, and we were here, and we were like, oh, this is so good. It was like 50 degrees and sunny every day.
oh
And
well,
that's a
awesome,
treat. In
man.
January, I'll take 50 degrees and sunny every time. I think we're getting similar weather this week. So we got really lucky this year.
Well, I hope you just didn't just jinx it because then I'm gonna I'm gonna
Watch
have
it.
to clip this
Or
off and send it
bust
to
out
the
my rain
guys.
gear.
Yeah, I'll have to clip this off and send it to the guys. I'll give you shit about it. All right,
Yeah.
brother. Thanks so much,
Hey,
man.
man.
Thanks again. That was Crew
Thank you.
Call Live. I had a rough start, man, trying to go live on the Behind the Broadcast YouTube channel. Please, if you want to join the Crew Call Live, visit broadcastworkshops.org. Every week, I talk to sports industry professionals about their jobs and their careers, and this one was a fun one today, man. Phil, do I say is it Jakes or Jacques?
Jakes.
It's Jakes.
Still Jakes. Yeah.
Phil, it sounds like it has more of the French term. I mean, you might be able to raise the rate if you go French.
I'm French Canadian, so that kind of comes with
That'll work.
territory, being from New Hampshire. You're
All right, buddy. Thanks again, man. Take care. Crew Call
welcome. Thanks,
Live,
bud.
weekly, Thursdays, 5 p.m.
My pleasure.